Hello and welcome to a very special Bizarro edition of What We're Watching Weekly. Or sorry, not What We're Watching Weekly. That's the April Fool's episode edition that we're going to do of What Else Is On, the show on the Elsters Network, where we talk about the TV and movies that we've watched this past week. I am Gregor Sprague, and joining me is the replacement Corey, Evan Rockdy. Because Corey is off on assignment getting his car, well, not insured, because he already has it insured, but he got an fender bender, and so he's doing all the grown-up stuff that is associated when you get into fender benders. So, Evan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and thankfully, though, we hope the best for Corey and his car, and thankfully we have enough producers and associated people with the Elsenerds Network that we can pull together a show of like this at a moment's notice. Like a superhero
A moment, of course, equals a half hour afterwards.
half hour, right, but together. So,
But yeah, and so we have some news
yep.
that we're going to talk about. The Avengers Age of Ultron, the official plot synopsis. This comes to us from the escapistmagazine.com. And we're not going to read the whole article, but basically, to sum up the plot synopsis, they announce basically that who's in there. You have Thor, Tony Stark, Captain America, the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye from the last Avengers movie, and they even name the two other, and they even name Nick Fury, Maria Hill. They even introduce some of the new a new villain, the new villain in here, James Spader as Ultron, and the new. Now we don't know exactly if they're good or bad, but Wanda Maximoff and Pietro Maximoff, and they give us who they're played by, and they meet an old friend in a new form when Paul Bettany becomes the Vision. And that is a direct quote from the plot synopsis.
Right.
And Evan, you actually gave us an interesting thing here beforehand when we were talking.
Right. I think, well, they said that Paul Bettany is going to play Vision, and in previous Iron Man movies, he was the voice of Jarvis. So my thought is that Tony Stark is going to build a body for Jarvis, and that's what the Vision is Jarvis with his own body. So
now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna call shenanigans on that, and I was holding back my opinion on this because there's been some leaked screen pictures of this, and it stayed pretty true. It seems like they stayed pretty true to the comics, the comic book version of Vision, and he ain't what Tony Stark's built.
Right, but I'm just saying they have the same voice because they're voiced by the same actor. So, well,
yeah, no, this is true.
Upload Jarvis into an already existing robot that Tony Stark didn't build, but I don't know.
I mean, basically, that's I do think that they are going to do like where Tony Stark has somehow uploaded the Jarvis persona into a robot or a synthezoid, as Vision is a synthezoid, not an android or whatever you want to call him. But I don't think Vision is going to be something that Tony Stark built, because if you look at the suits, it's more like sort of deal, not Vision, which looks
right. Well, those
awesome.
are what the Ultron suits look like, if you know.
Yeah.
But who knows? The other thing that you kind of glossed over, not that it really matters, you mentioned the characters of Wanda Maximoff and Pietro Maximoff, but you didn't say that they are the regular names for the characters of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch.
Well,
which
yes,
version of
yes, of course.
Quicksilver is going to be look more like the comics version than the Quicksilver from X-Men Days of Future Past, and then obviously Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch is going to be like what she is in the comics, but has a different looking outfit. And the only thing we've seen of them was, which is a spoiler, at the post credits of Captain America: Winter Soldier, we see both of them being held captive by what's his name, Baron von Strucker.
Yes.
So, and he has Loki's staff, doesn't he, as well? So
Yeah,
that's
but I believe
probably
so.
how he's controlling them. So
Yeah.
also
Yeah, go
in,
ahead.
in this plot synopsis, I think it has to do with because of the show Agents of Shield, they don't make mention of Agent Coulson being in it either. So
Yeah,
and
well, that and the fact that the Avengers think Coulson's
I
dead.
think he's dead. Oh, that's true. Except for well, obviously, Nick Fury and Maria Hill knows he's alive, right?
Yeah, exactly. But all these big superheroes, Captain
Oh,
America, the ones with powers, Captain America, Thor, Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye,
yeah,
all
that's
think
true. They
he's
think
dead.
he's dead. That's very true. And then also, as shown in the Comic Con footage, War Machine is in the movie too. So
Yeah,
Don Cheadle will be in there somewhere. So
which
he's
is
yeah
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, let me. What did it say in the synopsis about Tony Stark? Um, oh, because I saw a different synopsis that talked about how something about how Ultron gets brought about. There was like some one sentence about one.
Tony Stark tries to jumpstart a dormant peacekeeping program. Things go awry. And Earth's mightiest heroes, including Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, are put to the ultimate test. So basically, it sounds like Ultron was a part of a or was a virus in this dormant peacekeeping program or something like that.
Right. So sounds interesting. I think it'll be. Well, he says. Well, Grant or Beat in the chat says Ultron is benign first. So he's like laying dormant. Or well, I'll have to look up exactly what benign means.
Um, uh, Ultron is Ultron doesn't really Ultron wasn't evil first, essentially,
Oh, he wasn't evil first.
in a way.
I wonder what'll make him.
Um, or Ultron. I don't think evil is first. Like in cancer, when they say it's benign, that means it wasn't cancerous,
Right. So
like
he's
for a tumor.
right. So he's not evil to begin with, but he gets infected. So Tony Stark probably restarts this project that was laying dormant, creates these soldiers, these robotic soldiers, and then
He
somehow
probably starts
one
tampering
of
with the
them gets a
code.
virus or something.
No, well, he probably starts tampering with the code, in
Or
my
there's
opinion.
something that's a puppet who we don't know who's in the movie who, you know, inserts a virus into the code of these peacekeeping robots or whatever. One no, there I don't know if there's one central one, but in the footage I think from Comic Con there's like an army of Ultron robots, or in the one like poster they have for it, it's like an army of robots. So
Yeah.
who knows? But I think it's going to be good. It opens up May 1st of next year, so it'll be
Okay.
hard pressed for it to not be the number one movie of the summer. I mean, there's other movies that are coming out, like Jurassic Park 4 is coming out in next summer, so you've got other movies that could compete with it. But I think since it's right off the bat, it'll do this year, or sorry, next year, what all Amazing Spider-Man 2 wanted to do, be the first movie of the summer. And since it starts the summer, it's supposed to be, oh, we're going to be in the theaters for like 6 months, the entire summer, and we'll make money the whole summer. I think
Um,
Avengers 2 will do that.
B is pointing out another movie that I
Oh,
think you're
yes.
forgetting.
Star
Star
Wars
Wars.
that's not till like 6 months after Age of Ultron has already come and gone. But I do think Star Wars will make more money. That is true. But I'm saying when it comes out, it'll be the top grossing movie of the summer because Star Wars is in December. So that's just a guess, but
All right. Well,
so
yeah. So let's get on to starts and stops. I know this is a little early for it, but hey, like I said, Bizarro episode. I'm wearing a hat. So the link is in the description below, which I realize now I'm going to have to change because I'm the only one here who watched Doctor Who. So tomorrow we will talk Doctor Who because we're going to do a special Tuesday episode where we will get all of our Who talk out. And I made a good pun even with it because the episode was called Listen. But anyways, so Tuesday you have, or tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and on HBO the special 29-minute special presentation Alan Alda and the Actor Within You, a young arts masterclass. 9 p.m. on Fox, the 4th season premiere of New Girl. And at 9:30 on Fox, the 3rd season premiere of The Mindy Project. And 10 p.m. on MTV, you have the 1st season finale of Finding Carter, which in my opinion has been a very good show, very good drama. And then at 10:30 p.m. on Comedy Central, you have the 3rd season premiere of Brickleberry. Moving on to Wednesday, at 8 p.m. on NBC, you have the at the 2-hour 9th season finale at a special time of America's Got Talent. At 9 p.m. on Fox, you have the series premiere of Red Band Society, which Evan had shared news of that Mandy Moore is joining the cast of the show. And at 10 p.m. on NBC, you have the series premiere at a special time of The Mysteries of Laura. And also at 10 p.m. on CBS, you have the 1st season finale of Extant. And typically, the reason why I'm doing more is because we have the we have the beginning of the fall season. So I'm going to do more of these as we have, more shows coming out here. Thursday at 12:30 a.m. on Comedy Central, you have the 1st season finale of The Meltdown with Jonah and Kumail, the one with the horror stories. 10 p.m. on FX, you have the 1st season finale of Married. And then at 10:30 on FX, you have the 1st season finale of You're the Worst. Friday on 8 p.m. on CBS, you have the new episode of A Special Night of Big Brother. And actually on Science at 8, 9, and 10, you have these specials that they've done called Hack My Brain. It's like 3 episodes. Just 3-hour-long episodes, so check that out. It sounds pretty interesting. And Saturday, I was mentioning this before the show, and I didn't realize that this was a Ken Burns documentary thing, but at 10 p.m. on PBS, The Roosevelts, An Intimate History, the 1st season finale of that. And then on Sunday, 2 p.m. on CMT, you have the cable run series premiere of Raising Hope. And then on CBS, you have the series premiere of Madam Secretary. And at 11:30 p.m. on Adult Swim, you have the series premiere of Mr. Pickles. And on Monday, this is where all the big premieres are happening right now for the fall TV. At 8 p.m. on CBS, you have the 1-hour 8th season premiere of The Big Bang Theory. And also at the same time,
Big Bang Theory. Bazinga!
You gave me a little scare because like I got speakers in my head. I'm like, where
Uh,
did that come from?
well, that's one of my favorite shows on TV, so I give a little cheer for that.
And then also at the same time on Bravo, you have the 1 hour special presentation of Inside the Actors Studio. Also at the same time on Fox, you have the series premiere of Gotham.
Who is the Inside the Actor Studio with? Is it specific?
Um, Mariska Hargitay.
Ah,
And then also NBC has The Voice, the 6th season premiere. And then at 9 p.m. on CBS, you have the series premiere of The Scorpion and the 2nd season premiere of Sleepy Hollow, which I believe, I don't know if you liked it, Evan, but I think Beatmaster really enjoyed that show.
yeah, I watched the pilot and that was it. As I said before, I'm surprised that got a 2nd season over Almost Human, but then again, Sleepy
It got
Hollow.
it got a 2nd season early.
Yeah, it was renewed
That's
like after it only aired like maybe 3, like less than 5 episodes. It was renewed,
yeah,
which is
and
weird. But
yeah, and then at 10 p.m. on NBC, you have the 2nd season premiere of The Blacklist, and on ABC, you have the series premiere at a special night of Forever, which this is, Evan, you were describing this. This is actually describe it for the people.
basically, if it's like has elements of the M Night Shyamalan, the underrated M Night Shyamalan movie Unbreakable, mixed with elements of Sherlock Holmes, including music that's reminiscent of a Sherlock Holmes series. So they have it on Hulu to watch the pilot for free. I believe it airs. The first episode is on the 22nd Monday. Then the 23rd will be at 10 p.m. on Tuesday. The 23rd will be its time slot premiere.
Okay.
The second, I believe that's what it is. But yeah, it's very intriguing. There's mystery. But instead of Sherlock Holmes being a detective, this guy is a detective, but he is a medical examiner for the city of New York.
And
And
he cannot die.
yeah, well, he does die, and then he comes back to life because there's one thing about his dying that I don't want to spoil, but that he tells you about it. The other thing I will say is it's so similar to Sherlock Holmes in the fact that if you didn't know that he was a medical examiner, you would think he's Sherlock Holmes because he sounds like he could be a Sherlock Holmes. I don't exactly know how to pronounce his name, but he's the guy who played Mr. Fantastic in the first two.
Iowan, I can't think of his last name. I do not know his last name. It's
Grufford.
Iowan, say it again.
Grufford, but I
Grufford,
looked it up
yeah.
on Wikipedia, and apparently you pronounce his last name Griffith. That's what it
Oh,
says.
Griffith, yeah.
But yeah, he played Mr. Fantastic in the original 2 Fantastic Four movies. So
Yeah, and
good
then,
actor, I'll
yeah,
say that. Oh,
yeah.
also Joel David Moore from Avatar. He's also in it as he's like assistant medical examiner, coroner guy. So he's the only other name actor that I recognize. Oh, and also I should say Judd Hirsch is in it too. He's another. I think he's the older character, one of the older men. But it's interesting. So I'd say give it a try beyond just the pilot, because the pilot sets it up to where you're like, oh, this is interesting. So I'd say give it a go. So that's at least give it more than 1 episode. I'll say that.
Cool. Cool. Well, that's starts and stops. So, so if you're coming here and you're typically like, well, where's Big Brother? Where's Doctor Who? Well, that's tomorrow. Because Evan doesn't watch those shows. But where we are going to talk about is You Are the Worst. So these, this is actually the Dick Grayson's Future End episode, where they're constantly just going, like, back, like, further, like, from the beginning
I thought,
of,
yeah,
like, from when Jimmy proposed to, the girl who got married in the pilot. I'm blanking on her name.
oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's
To
right. Wait, oh that yeah, up until
the him breaking up, which I'm like, Wait, they broke up?
Yeah,
And
well, yeah,
this show, okay, this show constantly, and I'm hoping Corey is watching this because I seriously think he's behind, and this is seriously one of those things where it's like this this is solidifying him being the worst.
yeah.
Not Corey, but Jimmy.
Jimmy
The character.
Shive Overlay. When you on the radio show, Jimmy Shive Overlay.
Yes.
But I liked when he gave, I guess it was Edgar before he really knew Edgar. He gave him the copy of the book. He personalized the book, and then Edgar like hit a different homeless man over the head with the book or
The
whatever.
dude wasn't homeless. I don't think the dude was
Oh,
homeless.
oh,
I think he was just a dude wearing like an America Sucks shirt or
oh! It's
whatever.
funny how it turned how why Jimmy and Edgar know each other because Jimmy was getting was it pot or some other drugs from Edgar
Yeah,
early.
Edgar was Jimmy's like drug dealer.
And it's funny to see how Gretchen got she was the assistant to like the producer or publicist, and then that guy was late, so he got fired, and then she got promoted, and then eventually she got fired for when before she was promoted she was doing stuff in the studio, doing lines of coke and whatnot, and then when she was after she had been promoted she kept doing that stuff, and that's what ultimately got her fired.
Oh yeah,
So
it's. I mean, this show. I mean, Corey said it numerous times. Like the show for being like essentially the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" approach,
yeah,
where these are despicable people doing despicable things.
right,
Um, yeah, it's the same thing. But Jimmy was by far the worst in this episode. I
right.
mean, and you just watch, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you douchebag. But
Wait,
then
has
I'm like, and then
right,
I'm watching him, and then he sort of redeems himself at the end,
right,
where you watch as you're going through, as he's sort of redeeming himself, or or not redeeming himself, but as he heckles the bride lady. I'm blanking on her name.
right.
Um, and he goes, "You're gonna," like he goes and he whispers in her ear, "You're gonna want to have sex. You're gonna have sex with me one
No,
more time."
the guy says, yeah, he's gonna say, we haven't had sex for the last time, or something like that, or something.
Yeah.
He whispers it in her ear, and then I also found it interesting. I don't know if we knew this prior to that, prior to the day of the wedding, but that Gretchen, the day after the wedding, she had planned on moving to New York. But was that ever mentioned before?
No.
Okay, so that was new this time.
No. It was. This was a great little episode that filled in a whole bunch of stuff beforehand, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, all right,"
Right,
and then it's just like, and then all this other stuff happens, and now we're like, and then you see everyone grow as well, or well, you see Gretchen grow
right,
because you see her like take Paul's advice, because it's like he Paul has the most wisdom out of everyone, where he's like, you get a food processor because it's your symbolism of growing up and all this stuff, and then you're like, what? Hold up. And then you see her come in with a food processor, and I think it's one. I think it might have been one above Gretchen's, or not
right,
Gretchen's, of her friends, and then you're like, and her clean up her apartment, still having the or the progressive lady's cat, and and which is like a nice gag to see,
right.
and all this stuff,
So
and
I still, right. So I
but
still say that this show is funnier than Married, but I've always kept watching Married because I like who's in the two lead actors. I've always liked um, Judy Greer and Nat Faxon.
mhm.
So
The
You know,
cast in Married is great. I love
yeah,
the cast in
Paul
Married.
Reiser, and then when they decide to put him in the episode, John Hodgman is good too.
Well, John Hodgman, Jenny Slate, um, what is the name of the dude? Ben.
Oh, you mean
He,
the guy who went to rehab in the episode?
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't remember his name either, but I know I've seen him in other stuff. I just can't remember. But anyway, speaking of that character, he was the one who part of the episode was centered around him and being reluctant to go to rehab.
yeah. Which is so weird. Oh my gosh, it's just like this whole series, Married. Like, I seriously think was I think I pitched it correctly to Corey. Like it's a slow. Honestly, if they got rid of the first three episodes, where like how they did, like they were not needed. They were not like the whole, oh, go cheat on me, honey, or whatever.
Want to start the series where the wife tells him to go get a vasectomy?
Yeah, or whatever. Because I mean, the go cheat like that part. Because I mean, it sort of soured me for no reason.
Why? Because the wife said, "You clearly want sex, but I don't feel up to giving it to you, so go get your release some other way." And you can even
Yeah,
be a live human
because,
being, you know.
because what that said to me then is, okay, this is gonna be him going and sleeping with other people throughout the whole show, and then it went,
Or his attempt to do that,
yeah, or his attempt to
which was
do it.
only the first episode, was
Oh
that.
yeah, it was only the first episode, and then part of the second, and
Right.
then and then it became about the dog, the second episode. Um,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah, and so and then it just became about them and then their friends. And so I'm like, did we need to even be about the cheating aspect
I
for
don't
a
know.
pilot?
Uh, Maybe not, but I could be wrong, but isn't this week's episodes of both Married and You're the Worst the season finales?
Hmm.
Okay, so, and I read what the one sentence summary of You're the Worst is going to be, but anyway, so it's going to be interesting what the season finale is going to be. But I think, yeah, Married, I guess it hasn't gotten bad. Like I haven't gone, oh, this is terrible. I'm going to stop watching it. But it's just kind of like stayed at the same level for me. But it's good. Like all the characters are good. The guy who went to was finally convinced to go to rehab. He got fired from his job, and then then the Judy Greer character met up with one of her old friends who
Yeah,
was in town but only had a little time to see her, and it turned out that she really didn't have the time to see her. But so then Judy Greer's character Lena was like, I'm just gonna leave this woman. She clearly doesn't have time for me. So she left, and then it was the whole thing about getting their daughter a pirate costume for Halloween.
which is funny.
They're
Jenny
11. Was
Slate.
it 11 going on 12? Right?
No, yeah, yeah, which is funny because Jenny that then gets me to Jenny Slate, which she will constantly steal scenes.
Is she the one that eventually wore the pirate costume?
For the slutty pirate costume.
Yeah, she's the one married the Paul Reiser character.
Yes, yes. Which
Okay.
and I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. 'Cause, but it's just hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, slutty pirate reminds me of that scene from one of the episodes of How I Met Your Mother, where like Barney was like, on Halloween, all the women dress up. It's not just a pirate; it's a slutty pirate. It's not a nurse; it's a slutty nurse. It's not a cat; it's a slutty cat. You know, like all the
Yeah.
costumes are deliberately made that way, unless, of course, you take the time and effort to make your own costume. Anyway, so I think this one is one of the better ones, and it's funny on all accounts. So I can only imagine what the season finale is going to be like.
Oh
So
yeah.
if,
No, these
and
are.
I'll say this, maybe you're one of those people that's going to wait till after the season finale aired. So if you haven't seen any or much of the series, you can binge the whole season. you know,
Yeah,
it's
these
half
are
hour.
two. Yeah, these are two. The way I've been doing it is I've been going married, and then which is it's a really good lead into You're the Worst. But
Right.
if you are gonna binge the shows, I will warn you that binging married, the pilot did leave a bad taste. Like the first two episodes of Married did leave a bad taste, and it sort of soured me
Right.
binging through. Like you do sort of have to go because the pilot, it's like a bad choice of a pilot,
You mean you
and
think could have aired it in that as a still aired that episode, but it's a different one in the run, or you think did away with it completely?
I don't know if they did. The creators of the show, if they had a different episode that they did had as a pilot for Married, and and then the FX executives were like, "All right, this is great. We like the idea of the show," and they're like, "All right," and then redid something else, and then that became the pilot.
That's entirely true. But as you said, that your lineup is you watch Married and then you watch You're the Worst. For me, because it's also a Thursday night show, which we're gonna now discuss, I watch Married, You're the Worst, and then Garfunkel and Oates, because that's the other Thursday night show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
That's usually typically how I do it is the other way around. I watch Garfunkel and Oates, and then I'll watch
uh,
Married and You're the Worst.
yeah, I like Garfunkel and Oates for what it is. It's clever, it's funny, they have music in it, they have great guest stars doing cameos. Like this episode, they had a guest cameo from Weird Al, so.
Oh yeah,
And he
it
kind
was.
of dissed Garfunkel and Oates in it, too.
Oh yeah. The episode is called Third Member, in which the in which they had originally the band was when they were celebrating their fifth year anniversary, I think it was.
Yeah.
Originally they were called Garfunkel and Oates and Jazzy Jeff,
Oh, that,
because when you think of Garfunkel and Oates, two legendary Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, you
right.
traditionally think as if you're going to include a third member, Jazzy Jeff.
Why not?
the
What was her instrument of choice? What did they call it?
her
Melodic?
instrument that she played,
Wasn't it like the melodica or something
yeah,
like?
yeah, the melodica. um,
So it's like
what,
a harmonica, but with a key with buttons like a piano keyboard,
um,
or
something.
like a kazoo type of a thing where you blow into it and then it has a keyboard that you
Oh,
push the tones. But that's beside the point. Did they fired her from the band and then she became a famous movie star and
yeah,
still holds the
they
grudge of them having fired her?
they fired her because of the fact that um okay, actually I Wikipedia melodica, also known as a pianica, blow organ, or key flute, is a free reed instrument similar to a melodica and harmonica. Um, it has a musical keyboard on top and is played by blowing air through a mouthpiece that fits into a hole in the side of the instrument.
If Wikipedia has a picture, would you mind sharing your screen to show the audience what it looks like?
Yeah, I can do that as soon as I figure out how to do it. It looks like that. Right
Okay.
there is the
Oh, there
melodica.
it is. Yeah, there it is, the melodica. So I guess it does have a reed. I thought that it wasn't, but I guess it really does have a reed, which is cool.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the melodica.
Oh, that yeah. So it was overall a very funny episode and very charming. And of course, the because of the anniversary, this Jazzy Jeff woman didn't want Garfunkel and Oates to forget or to ever forget why she's not in the band, and like she's like pretends to be bitter towards them, and then they try to make up to her by presenting her with this this new melodica that they had previously wanted to give her before when she was still in the band. And then she thought, upon their gesture of giving it to her, that that meant that she was being reinstated as a band member, but that wasn't, and that, blew up in their face. So,
Which is fun. Which you're sort of burying the lead here. Which it
uh,
was on the promos for the episode before, which I thought it was going to go in a completely different way. Where you saw in the promos, you saw Weird Al Yankovic, go and storm off, and I'm like, cool, Weird Al's going to be in this episode, and I'm like, so how is he going to be involved? And then when you see him in the episode, and then him just he's involved with her. He plays, and I'm blanking on what the third member her name is, because her name was Jamie, but then she changes it once she leaves Garfunkel and Oates
right.
and Jazzy Jeff, and he's like. And when they meet Weird Al, he's like, "We're you're a big inspiration to us. We're comedy musicians as well." And he's like, "Oh, cool. What are your names?" Well, we're Garfunkel and Oates. How dare you? They are two Rock and Roll Hall of Fame legends. How dare you insult them? I'm gonna need to take 5. And he storms off past them.
Right. That was fun.
It was great.
So I think that show just keeps getting better and better every episode.
Yeah.
And musical numbers included. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and this one also featured a return of the Garfunkel and Oates puppets as well.
Oh yeah. Which was great.
Yeah, so it's all around a good show. So.
And the apples is my favorite fruit song. And they had from the League, which I will talk about tomorrow. The actress who plays Shiva. She was the weed doctor. And,
that's right. They went to go get their weed card.
And Moshe Kasher was the nurse.
Oh, gotcha. So, spoiler. Well, at the beginning, only Ricky gets her card because when they go to fill out the forms for it, you have to check which symptoms you have and
symptoms.
Kate
symptoms.
Realizes that she has legitimately nothing that she can check, so she can't. At the beginning, she can't get her card, and she's all like, "Oh well, she has problems with that." But then eventually. Doesn't by the end she does get her card? They stamp it at the end.
Yeah. It's hilarious. I don't want to ruin it, but the whole episode is great, and I think Corey is still waiting for the comedy duos episode where you get Paul and Storm, Hard and Firm, Tenacious D, Flight of the Conchords.
If that ever is to happen. So.
Yeah, I think it's like every comedy fan's dream episode.
Well, you mentioned Hard and Firm, and we can go into talking about another show which we did not discuss that we probably both watched, Epic Meal Empire with featuring At Midnight. So
yeah, that one was pretty cool.
Yeah, they made internet meme themed foods.
But what did they call the meal? What was it?
I forgot, but they had the hashtag made of hash browns.
Yes.
Refrigerator and covered it in Rice Krispie treats.
I loved the mini epic meal that they did with Natalie as Muscle's glasses.
Oh yeah.
Where she's just she's sitting there with a pair of aviators and she's just like bam, bam, flips off the camera and just thumbs down.
And I remember, didn't they do the Nyan Cat where they took the rainbow, the sour rainbow candy and a Pop-Tart?
Oh yeah, no, it was just it was literally great. Like I would love to have seen like a Wikipedia page on that for the episode of everything that they did on there.
I know.
Like Harley bit my chicken fingers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Um,
Took a bite out of all the chicken fingers. Then they had on top, instead of chocolate rain, they just had a chocolate fountain on top.
yeah.
What did they do for Rick rolls? They had
Oh
something,
gosh.
and then they had the double rainbow for something else, and then they did gang ham style, where they took they cooked a ham and then they put a red bandana around it.
It's in a game.
Gang ham style.
There it was
And then they
so
had
great though.
what
Like
the Rick rolls, like hot dogs or something.
no, those were hot dog shaming
Oh,
for dog shaming.
oh, that's right. And
But
then
it was just like seeing so many different things in there. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude.
and they
But
just
like,
told the staff of at midnight to just go at it. Just open up the fridge and take whatever's there and start eating it.
oh yeah, and like they did and in the traditional epic mealtime or epic meal empire style, like they coated the whole thing in Pop Tarts or not Pop Tarts,
Rice Krispie
Rice
treat.
Krispie treats.
At first, it sounded like they were going to be building the refrigerator
No,
out,
I knew they were going to coat it.
but then I saw when they delivered it in. So I'd be curious to find out what it would be like to try any of the food that they ever made. Like, would it taste good together? I know it's going to be high calories and fat and like all your daily intake of everything.
Oh
But
yeah,
so that's just another fun show. And what I like about it is they were, I think, in a way, able to successfully translate an internet show into a real show on TV.
Oh yeah. And then the other cool thing, because I went last what was it last Wednesday I think I went to Lansing and we found a bookstore that wasn't Barnes and Noble. It was I think it was more like a local bookstore.
Independent bookstore.
Yeah, and there and I found Hannah Hart's book,
Oh, that's cool. Did you
her
buy that?
cookbook. I didn't get it, but I'm just like
They
awesome
need to have her on. Well, I'm sure they've had her on the YouTube version of Epic
on Epic
Empire.
Mealtime. But yeah, but on
Well,
Epic Meal Empire, yeah.
it was a week ago. She and Grace Helbig hosted the Streamy Awards.
Yeah. But no, and then but yeah, I mean, just like seeing the cookbook, because I went immediately when I went to and looked in the comic book section. And I'm like, okay, where are the comic books? Where's the or like where's and they actually had like the floppies, and I'm like, but like I think they were like 3 weeks behind, but
Oh,
still I'm like, they have comics like
that's cool.
floppy. But and then I'm like I saw the graphic novels, and I'm
That's
sitting there, I'm
cool.
like. And I was like, okay, how do I ask Grandma for a comic book when the only one I want or two I want are Saga, which I could probably ask her for that one, or Sex Criminals Volume 1?
Oh, when I was at a comic book shop yesterday to play board games, I saw they had in one of the glass cases an issue of Saga, and it looked, I didn't see which number it was or if it's a variant cover, but it was a back issue, and they
Yeah.
had a list, it must have been a first printing of like the first issue, because the sticker they had on it was 129.99.
Oh, that has to be,
The first printing of the first issue, probably.
yeah, probably.
Then they had other ones that were like $20 or $10, going on down. And I know some of the early printings of not to get off onto a tangent, but some of the early printings of The Walking Dead first few issues can be worth a lot of money to
Oh,
have.
yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So to round out the shows that both Greg and I watched, that we happened to both watch last week, was Franklin and Bash, the ever funny
Yeah.
Franklin and Bash. It never
Um,
ceases to amuse me. So they're always
yeah, this episode,
there was
and
three stories going on.
what was the third story?
There was the cello teacher renting out the space. There was the Franklin and Bash, and the high school newspaper reporter. And then the third one was Franklin, or sorry, I think it's Peter no, Jared and Swatello having to sign the HR paperwork.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they put down different like reasons. Like she thought that maybe they are in a relationship, but he thought it was more casual. He thought that Jared thought maybe they could be in a relationship, but he didn't want to put it down because he thought that might instantly alienate her from him, so he was way wrong. But how did the episode end on that for that plot line?
I think
Or
they,
how they resolved it?
um, I think they are uh, basically no go.
Okay, but yeah, I liked how the whole thing about the kid was gonna lose his scholarship, but he wanted to stand his firm ground, and then finally, obviously, unless it's gonna be a two-parter, that means that Franklin and Bash usually have won their case. Usually,
No, they did.
yeah,
Oh,
they
and
did.
I was right. I was right. That was I mentioned this earlier. Um, but the kid who was the journalist is Devin Werkheiser, who played Ned in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Gotcha. So he is the yeah. So oh, and the mother of this kid who's the journalism student who almost gets expelled from school because of what he holding up his journalistic integrity. He is his mother ended up being the girl, the woman who Peter Bash had gone to high school homecoming with, and he
And spilled clam chowder on himself.
himself, yes, and apparently that gets brought up again in the episode, but or I should rephrase it. It happens again in the episode, but to make a long story short, it turned out that he had kind of wanted to ask her out back when they were in high school, and she had actually wished back then that he had asked her out, but he never did, so he never pursued it. Oh, and to top it off, because it was a flame of sorts from his high school days, Franklin and Bash decided to take this case pro bono. So they weren't doing it for any. They weren't charging these the woman and her son. So
To use a certain choice
oh,
of words there.
pro bono,
Hi-yo.
pro bono.
But
Hello.
no, yeah, I,
Oh,
I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the episode. Then again, I've been a fan of Franklin and Batch since it's been announced, or since it's been out.
right.
Um, like I mean, and then I had a feeling that the kid, I'm like, he looks familiar to me, and then I'm actually looking on IMDb, and I'm like, hey, that's Devin Werkheiser from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide.
Well,
Which is it's interesting to see because he was born in '91, which makes him 23, playing a high school kid.
yeah.
And I'm like,
So that's interesting. They always seem to do like that. But my other question is, what did you think of the plot line that featured Stanton Infel?
that's interesting. I mean, I don't know how long they're going to be able to keep um,
The
the
woman
whole
practicing lawyer.
no, well, not that, but the whole sublet thing going on.
Oh, do you think that he let her be the sublet because he has a thing for her or what?
Um, well, maybe that. But also, I mean, I think it very well could just be that um, that I don't know. I think that might be it. I mean, he just he likes her. You know?
Plus, he can play the cello or remember they showed him playing it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's my other question about this season as a whole. What do you think about that guy, the new investigator guy for Franklin and Bash, who's basically taken the place of Carmen?
I would rather have Carmen, to be
Yeah,
honest.
for obvious reasons, they had to ditch Pinder, played by Kumail Nanjiani, because he's on Silicon Valley. So he's
Yeah.
not on it, which I'm bummed about. But I like Carmen a little bit better because she lived with Franklin and Bash. But this new guy, does he live? I don't think he lives with them, does he?
No, he
Did they
doesn't.
explain how they found him, or was that in the pilot or the first episode of this season?
I don't know, but I mean,
So,
he's a little too creepy for me, to be
right.
honest. well, actually, no, a lot creepy for me, to be honest.
Don't ever tell you how he finds the information, just that they ask him for stuff, and then later he not only finds it, but he does even more. Like in his investigation of looking up this stuff, he finds more. He gives them more.
You can honestly tell that they regret the information that they get from him.
Yeah, they're like, well, we don't need that much, but then again, they don't have to use it. They just now have more information at their disposal. But then again, it would be worse if they got caught, if he got caught, you know.
Yeah.
So. So overall, that is a really good show. I mean, it's
Oh
going to be
yeah.
on for another several weeks, and it's going to be competing with other fall shows that are premiering coming up soon. So there's a lot within the next before the end of the month, and or I'll say within the next month or so, there'll be so many new shows premiering. It'll be like crazy. Like you'll like with me, you'll have at least within a month, you'll have at least one or more shows that will have returned, and there'll be something, on my schedule to watch every night of the week.
Oh
Except,
gosh.
well, I guess Saturday Night Live, depending upon who the host or musical guest is. So, you know,
It's honestly it's a good thing that Big Brother's ending because
right,
that's gonna free up schedule. Um, you're the worst. It's a good thing you're the worst in marriage is gonna be ending.
right.
Um,
Thursday is in a week from Thursday is when Parenthood comes back for their final 13 episodes.
which is sad, but I mean,
Yeah, but it's better to go out this way than string it out.
yeah.
And then, so I think that takes care of all the shows that both you and I happened to watch. There were other shows that we both watched, or that we watched that neither the or that the other person didn't. The one that I mentioned was the pilot of Forever, which you can watch now on Hulu, or wait until Monday, a week from today at 10
which
p.m.
yeah, which we'll probably end up talking about in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll give it a few episodes for people to start watching it.
Yeah, well,
So,
I'll probably end up talking. I'll probably end up talking about it once it starts.
right,
Once like with a couple of these shows, I'll probably start watching them and then give the judgments on them. Like, do I want to start talking about it right away? Do I want to start talking about it after a couple of episodes?
right.
Or for
I
me, and then
talk about it if, like the pilot, like you go, wow, this is a really good show. I'm gonna
Mhm.
keep watching it until it gets canceled or whatever. Then talk about it. But if you're still up in the air, give it a few episodes, and then if you definitively say no, then you can give your thoughts then. Or if you say yes, it's worth it to watch, get past the first few episodes, then talk about it. Then because we're gonna have plenty to talk about.
oh yeah, like
And
for
I'll say
me, yeah, for me right
now.
now, Red
Uh,
Band, for me right now, Red Band Society. Oh yes, I'm already behind Red Band Society. That's a great show. I saw a commercial for it today. Because mom right now, she just had surgery.
uh,
It's nothing big, so we don't gotta worry about that. But she's staying over there in the hospital, and I went up and visited her. And brought my laptop so she can get on the internet and check her Facebook and stuff. And saw a commercial for it. And I'm like, this is a great show. You're gonna want to watch this. So I was able. It was one of the pilot things on Hulu,
uh,
and so it's like, and I'm like, yeah, that's one of the shows I'm gonna be like,
for me,
if other people are watching it, then I'll talk about it on
like
here.
for me, the only new show on Fox I think that's premiering that I have any interest in at the moment is Gotham, and we'll see how long that holds my interest. But I'm
Mhm.
excited for it nonetheless. And then I also, which you probably mentioned last week, Starts to Stop, that I didn't know they were starting it yesterday. They did an hour back-to-back, two brand new episodes to start the season of American Dad last night. Do you know when it moves to TBS? Is that
This
like
season
what?
it starts this season.
Because I thought it premiered on Fox last night.
I don't think it was premieres. I thought it was just specials or something.
Oh, it's the season. I thought it said season 7 premieres or something. I think it's season 7.
They were just specials on, according to the Futon Critic.
What do you mean specials?
I,
They're not
my
part of.
source, the Futon Critic, it's just specials.
They're not part of any season, huh? Well, anyway,
I don't know. I don't know,
they,
but here let's wrap it up. Let's
okay.
wrap this up for everyone watching the show. Um so to find out more about our goings on, you can follow us at AltsNerds on the Twitter, and make sure to like our Facebook group at facebook.com/AltsNerdsShows. The nerds is plural, and so is shows. Um, and to see our full archives of our past shows, visit the Elts Nerds YouTube channel at eltsnerds.com. And this has been a Don't Tell Glenn production. Take care,
And
everyone. What was that, Evan?
oh, I'm just gonna say, check the Twitter or Facebook page to see when Corey and Greg are gonna do the continuation episode, I guess part two, when they will talk about Big Brother,
Yep,
among other things. So look for that later this week or as early as tomorrow. And
yep. It's tentatively tomorrow, I would say.
barring things going well with Corey and his car accident situation, which we all hope he does well and comes out, it all works well with him. And thanks everybody, and good night.